Hi everybody. I wanted to make a video today and talk about how important it is to get advice from the right people. So if you are in an abusive situation, relationship, whether that is through the partner that you're with, a friend, a family member, a parent, a lot of times you are surrounded with people who accept this behavior, especially if it comes from your family. There will be other people in your family that have already accepted this behavior and they've kind of revolved themselves around it to make it able to exist in their life. So what I found was that when I started opening up to people, people felt the need to give me advice, right? So it's not a bad thing. I'm sure their intention comes from a good place, but a lot of times when we get this advice from these people, we can get defensive because we know that they don't understand the whole story. And that in itself might take us to a place where we're triggered and we're not really getting the help that we really need. Okay, so, I'm looking at my little piece of paper of notes that I wrote. The important thing about getting advice from people in general, whether it's someone that you know or support groups, outreach programs, anything of that nature, is that the advice that you get needs to be an appropriate response for growth. That's what I wrote down, getting an appropriate response for growth. And that's how you have to think about that. One of the things that I had something recently happen to me, and I have different spectrums of people that I can talk to, people who are on the same mindset as me, where I'm always trying to find a silver lining in something, regardless of how bad the situation is, because I don't want to make that mistake again, right? And people who don't really think that way, right? So I got two different responses. I got one response that fed into this trigger that I was experiencing. And the person would say to me, oh, you have every right to feel that way. Yeah. And, fuck them, whatever it is, right? There's no growth in that. It's like feeding the poisonous mushroom in your garden. And then I would speak to someone else who has a positive mind, a different outlook on how to look at things and experiences in life. And this person gave me a different perspective. And that perspective opened my eyes up. And I was like, oh shit, wow, you know what? You're right. And at that moment, you decide which path you want to choose. Which answer do you want to resonate with? Another thing that I want to just quickly mention, I'm looking at my notes, I don't want to forget where I was, but I had someone say to me in a situation, that doesn't have to be your narrative. And it's such a small sentence and it's very powerful. And I was like, holy shit, wow. Yeah, I just keep replaying that sentence in my mind. If I feel like I am about to either make a bad decision, I might react bad, someone's trying to provoke you, right? That doesn't have to be your narrative. You don't have to be a character in their story. You're in charge of your story. You're your own person. You live in your own autonomy. Okay, I'm going to go back to my notes. I put defensiveness will still come up and poke its head out. Now, when you're asking for advice, be aware that this defensiveness kind of lies within you because you're always defensive with yourself when you have to explain yourself to these people who emotionally, mentally, and psychologically abuse you. You're never right. So this is a very normal response to have, but be aware of it. Right? So like if you didn't know it, now you do. Okay. So the next time you feel like you're trying to get advice from someone and they're giving you the honest truth and you feel like you're getting defensive, take a step back and say, oh, no, that's my old way of thinking. I know not to get defensive. And then I put always more than one lesson is learned when someone is authentic. So if someone is authentically trying to help you and give you advice and they come from a good place, there's always more than one lesson to be learned. I put their words and their words' response to you based on your triggers are where the lessons lie. So when someone were to say something to me that would in the background trigger me and go, well, wait a minute, but they don't know the whole story. Like, why would they say that? I question myself, do they really need to know the whole story? Or did I put too much value into that story to make the end result seem different. This might seem all very thought-provoking, which it should be. Okay, now this is where I want to kind of steer a little bit to another side. I've been trying to formulate, how would I word it? Like a curriculum, I guess, or yeah, I'll say curriculum. I'm trying to formulate a curriculum to provoke these type of thought processes with people and provoke a different way of thinking. One thing that I wrote, I'm sorry, I'm going to look for it because it was good. Okay, if you don't know better, you can't make better choices, right? I recognize that with myself because I'll look back at something a year ago and I'll say, oh shoot, you know what? Last year I thought that was something that I couldn't move past. But when it was presented to me again, I was able to move past it with no problem. So you almost feel silly, right? Because you're like, well, if I knew that, why didn't I do that before? It's because you didn't know better. And that's it. Don't beat yourself up. If you don't stop and try and know better by allowing yourself that time to reflect differently, you'll keep making those different choices that aren't working for you. And then I put, sometimes this can subconsciously happen by life force events that push your mind to think differently. And the reason why I say that is because what I had just mentioned about something that happened a year ago, without getting personal about it, you know, I didn't realize because life events subconsciously pushed me into a different way of thinking, where before I was completely overwhelmed by it and I said, oh, I can't do this. This is too much for me. I wound up doing it and I didn't even realize because all these other things were happening around me that pushed me to make this decision. So I have a lot of friends that I throw these type of things at and I say to them, like, can you let me know what you think? Like, does this provoke thoughts within you? And if it does, can you tell me what exactly it is? But I would really like a broader spectrum of this. And I've came up with a couple things and I'm going to start making videos about it. And I'm going to make different, I guess, chapters to it. And I would really love feedback. So this is where I'm really asking anybody watching this, my viewers, my subscribers, if you are interested, please message me below. It doesn't mean that you've been through traumatic things. It's really just self-awareness and self-identification analysis for yourself. And I think that's big. It's big, big, big. I was going to say big important. It's very important. And I do it constantly. So I'm always reevaluating myself. It's called evolution. We constantly evolve. Okay, so I'm sorry I made this video a little bit longer than I expected, but please leave some feedback if you are interested in it, and I can send you the questions and you allow me into your mind and let me know what it provokes within yourself thought-wise, and if it makes you think differently as the days go on. So I appreciate your help with that. I love your support. Thank you for watching, and I will be uploading something soon with a little bit more detail to this. Have a blessed day. Love you.